Mr. Stetski, seconded by Ms. Sanssouci, moves that Bill C-281, an act to establish a national local food day, be now read a third time and do pass. Debate. The honourable member for Kootenay-Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It gives me a great deal of pleasure, of course, to rise today for the third reading of my bill C-281 to create a national local food day the Friday before Thanksgiving every year. For those of you that aren't familiar with private members' bills, for those of you at home and how they work, when you become a member of Parliament, your name goes into a hat. So there were 338 names put into a hat, and they draw those names out, and whichever spot your name comes up in becomes the number of your bill. So I was about number 111 in terms of private member bills. So the first introduction of my bill was on June 1st of 2016, and then it was almost 2 years later, May 30th of 2018, that we held the second reading. And a number of members of Parliament from all parties gave some really inspiring speeches about how important local food was in their ridings, and I very much thank you for that. From there, the bill went to the Standing Committee on Agriculture and Agri-Food, and that was approved unanimously on June 20th. I'd like to thank the member from Cowichan, Malahat, Langford for his support at the Agriculture Committee. So why is local food important, and why do we have support right across Canada for my bill? Well, I'll start locally. In the summer of 2018, I went on a farmers market tour around my riding. My riding is 64,000 square kilometers. There's a lot of communities to visit. But I attended farmers market with my tent and my table in 11 communities. 10 actually, in the 11th I had the privilege of opening the summer market. So over the course of the summer I was in Fernie, Jaffrey, Cranbrook, Creston, Selmo, Nelson, Revelstoke, Golden, Radium, Invermere, and Kimberley. And everywhere I went, people were excited about local food and about National Local Food Day Bill. And why is that? Well, of course, it's because local food benefits us in so many different ways. First of all, it's healthy. We know where it comes from when it's grown locally. It's important to food security. We don't have to import food that we grow locally. And food security is going to become a growing issue internationally, particularly with climate change. Benefits the local economy. I know our farmers market in Cranbrook very quickly, after about 3 years of being in existence, was generating over $1 million a year in benefit to the economy. And this summer, going around to the various communities and participating in their farmers markets, I met tourists from all over Canada and all over the world that come to farmers markets in local communities. So it also benefits tourism as well as the economy and food security. And one of the fastest growing agriculture products in Canada is organic food, which you can get at farmers markets, of course, as well as many local grocery stores. And according to Canada Organic, organic food, comprised mostly of fresh vegetables and fruit, was valued at $4.4 billion in 2017, with 66% of Canadian shoppers saying they buy organic food, and that is, of course, on the increase. Now, you also find growing food locally is a benefit to the environment. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, when they released their report on October 10th, said one of the key messages that comes out very strongly from this report is that we are already seeing the consequences of 1 degree Celsius of global warming through more extreme weather, rising sea levels, among other changes. At the current rate of warming, the world is likely to reach 1.5 degrees between 2030 and 2052. Mr. Speaker, locally grown or harvested food has a much smaller carbon dioxide footprint than food imported from around the world and is essential to our food security. Increasingly, locally grown food is one important way to fight climate change. And a few weeks ago during question period, a question was raised around climate change impact of greenhouse marijuana grow operations that use a lot of electricity and a lot of plastics. The best way to counter that from an environmental perspective is for the government to give priority to outdoor marijuana grow operations And I can assure you, my marijuana farmers from the Kootenays are ready to do their part and to help save the planet. So in addition to hearing directly from people, there was a petition that circulated around the riding this summer, which again drew support from across Canada. And that petition talks about the need to strengthen the connection between consumers and producers of Canadian food, support our local farmers, and that a National Local Food Day to celebrate food is one of the most elemental characteristics of all of the cultures that populate this nation, and therefore call upon the Government of Canada to support the NDP's bill and act to establish National Local Food Day and designate the Friday before Thanksgiving every year as National Local Food Day. We also circulated postcards, and one of those postcards invited people to draw and send back to us what they thought represented local food. So 3-year-old Madeline from Greater Vancouver sent me a postcard with a carrot drawn on it. And Lisa from Saskatoon sent a card back saying, "Local vegetables, hooray." So there's lots of support from that perspective. There also is a lot of support from other organizations, including provincial governments, Mr. Speaker. Starting with the British Columbia Minister of Agriculture, Lana Popham, who sent us a letter saying, "I'm writing in support of Private Member Bill C-281, an act to establish a National Local Food Day. The establishment of a National Local Food Day encourages Canadians to choose local food products and supports our farmers, ranchers, fishers, hunters, and food processors, while also promoting healthy living." That's from Lana Popham, Minister of Agriculture for British Columbia. From Minister of Agriculture and Forestry from Alberta, the Honourable O'Neill Carlier, the Government of Alberta recognizes the tremendous contributions that the local food sector makes to a strong and diversified economy and the quality of life of Albertans and Canadians. I have written a letter to the Chair of the Standing Committee on Agriculture and Agri-Food expressing my support for your bill. I look forward to further opportunities for provincial and federal governments to work together to support our local food producers and processors and recognize the contributions that they make to the economy, the environment, and the health and well-being of all Canadians. So that was from Alberta. And then from Manitoba, the Minister of Agriculture, Ralph Eichler. This letter is to express Manitoba Agriculture's support for your private member's bill C-281, an act to establish a National Local Food Day, which would designate the Friday before Thanksgiving each year as National Local Food Day. Having a national designated day to focus awareness of food produced in Canada, especially at a time of giving thanks, so near Thanksgiving, is an excellent way to celebrate food and recognize the hard work that goes into its production. And that came from the Minister of Agriculture from Manitoba. And from across Canada, Mr. Speaker, other supporters include the Canadian Horticultural Council, Canadian Agri-Food Policy Institute, Canadian Produce Marketing Association, the Canadian Federation of Agriculture, Canadian Association of Fairs and Exhibitions, Chicken Farmers of Canada, the Canadian Meat Council, Egg Farmers of Canada, Turkey Farmers of Canada, Restaurants Canada, Food Action Coalitions, and farmers markets, and the list goes on. Now, there are a number of food events across Canada, and of course we encourage every riding, every province to celebrate food locally as well. So I just want to list some of the ones that are currently occurring in Canada. So National Local Food Day complements the many local and regional farmers markets and food festivals that already take place across Canada. There are many organizations that promote Canada's culinary wealth, including World Food Day on October 16th, National Food Day, Feast of Fields, the Nelson Garden Festival, Taste of the Danforth, the Shediac Lobster Festival, and many more. Canadians love locally produced food, and we're proud of the world-class excellence of our products. We need more opportunities to celebrate local food. I know each member of this House is proud of the growers, producers, and harvesters in their particular part of the country. In order to help shine a light on their important contributions to food security, a healthy environment, and a healthy economy, I'm asking that you continue your support for Bill C-281 and let it move on to the Senate. So let's join together across Canada and recognize the Friday before Thanksgiving each year as National Local Food Day. I very much appreciate all the support that we've had to date and look forward to that support continuing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions and comments?